Hey guys, so I just want to say, man, I've been seeing all the love and support, and I just want to say thank you so much, man. People have been hitting me up the past week, just checking in, and even today, and it really means a lot to me, man. You guys are the best. I love y'all. This is a stressful situation. I'm glad it's behind me, and yeah, I love y'all, man. Big love. Go stream Neverland.
So, Cassie and Kid Cudi picks her up. They're going to a hotel. While they're going to the hotel or at the hotel, Capricorn Clark, Diddy's assistant, calls them and said she's sitting in a car outside Cudi's house and says, "Oh my God, Sean and an associate are in your house, Cudi. I'm sitting outside in a car." She's calling them to give them the heads up. Once he knows that, Cudi then calls Diddy and says, "Where are you?" or something. That's when he says, "I'm coming back to the house." So now Cudi
says, "I'm coming back to the
house."
Because Diddy was already there. Diddy and were already in the house.
They were in Cudi's house. So Cudi finds out, he's like, "All right, I'm coming back there."
And Diddy says, "I'm over here." He says, Kid Cudi says, "I'm on my way. I'll be right there." Diddy says, "I'm over here waiting for you." So they're setting up because they're going to
show some sort of competition.
Do we know, have they said that they came face to face yet?
We haven't gotten that.
Yeah, I heard Kid Cudi's taking a stand.
Kid Cudi is taking a stand. I want to say before we get to Kid Cudi, Cassie's mother was the first witness that Diddy's team did not cross. They didn't ask her no questions. The lawyer stood up, introduced himself, and said, "I have no questions for you." That was the first time we ever seen that in court. Because what you gonna say to that woman?
Nothing.
Exactly. Now Kid Cudi. Yeah. So
man on the stand.
Yesterday, at the end, they started to talk about the rest of the week, and they said that Kid Cudi will be in court this week. They said that today, Wednesday, if they were able to, they would get to Kid Cudi, and he would be testifying. But from what I'm told, the way the testimonies are going to be set up today, they don't really think that they'll get to him today, that it's actually supposed to be Thursday, which is going to be he's a huge witness as well too, because he's going to speak to, of course, a lot of the abuse
arson.
Again, but the arson, the card stuff,
but also the conversation that they had at that dinner.
The alleged conversation they had at that restaurant, and they is Cassie, Diddy, and Kid Cudi, because Cassie alleged that Diddy came and sat them all down and said, "I don't like what's going on here," basically, and y'all need what's happening. Fill me in, because he felt away. Diddy's team is alleging that he did that because he felt away, because he put them in the studio together and then they started dating. Cassie's like, regardless of the situation, it was threatening, and he mentioned that he was going to do things allegedly to Kid Cudi and to her. The car came into conversation, and at that dinner, Cassie alleges that Kid Cudi said to Diddy, "Well, what about my car?" And Diddy said, "What car are you talking about?"
Yeah, but people who don't know, Diddy allegedly blew his car up.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I forgot. That's a major point to say. Yes. Yeah, because he allegedly blew his car up.
What about my car?
Jesus.
Yeah. That's going to be big, man, because, Diddy allegedly threatened to kill him, went to his house with a loaded gun, and that's going to be a really interesting part of the trial, because it'll probably start with Cudi, and then there'll be another witness who used to work for Diddy who'll probably come in and confirm a lot of Cudi's testimony.
Kid Cudi's 911 call from when his house got robbed might be used as evidence against Diddy. They want to use a 911 call that was placed when Kid Cudi's home was robbed, because they are alleging that Diddy is the one that facilitated this break-in of Kid Cudi's home, and they are alleging that he also kidnapped a woman to make this happen. We learned a while ago that there was a kidnapping connected to a break-in of Kid Cudi's house, and also connected to Diddy allegedly blowing up his car. Feds had alleged that December 22nd of 2011, Diddy and a co-conspirator kidnapped an individual with a weapon to facilitate a break-in into Kid Cudi's home. And we know that this person is Kid Cudi, because Kid Cudi came out and confirmed Cassie Ventura's allegations about Diddy allegedly blowing up his car, and this is exactly what they say. They say Diddy and co-conspirators blew up individual one 911's car with a muzzle off. And at first we only heard facilitate. We weren't sure if Diddy actually got into this house, but from what I'm understanding now, the feds are wanting to use a 911 call that was placed from Kid Cudi's home saying that their house was broken into. And they're saying that whoever placed this 911 call, whether it was Kid Cudi or somebody else living with him at the time, they are also going to give statements in Diddy's trial against him. They assume Diddy is going to try to attack this person's credibility at trial like he's basically doing to everybody else. And they said if this happens, this will give another reason why this 911 call should be entered as evidence against Diddy during the trial. We're also learning about a couple new employees that are testifying against Diddy, employee 2 and employee 3, and they are alleging that they were forced to work long hours with little pay, and they were subject to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse and other acts of violence. We also learned that they want to use text messages between Cassie Ventura and Diddy discussing the freak-offs. They are saying that these text messages are a strong piece of evidence because they are going to corroborate everything that Cassie Ventura says in her testimony against Diddy. It provides direct evidence that Diddy used violence to force and coerce her to engage in these freak-offs. They are saying that this part is so important because Diddy's argument in this criminal trial is going to be that everything was consensual, but they are saying that these text messages are going to show something totally different. They also want to bring in the law enforcement officers that raided his house and his plane as witnesses against him to give their testimony of what they saw and what they all removed from his home. This would be all of the freak-off footage. This would be all of the baby oil. This would be all of the substances that they say that they removed and whatever else they got from his home and his plane. I think the most interesting part of all of this is going to be the Kid Cudi situation because the arson of Kid Cudi's car and the kidnapping that's connected to Kid Cudi all fall under the RICO Act. They only need to prove 2 allegations out of all of the allegations that fall underneath that RICO Act for Diddy to be found guilty of the RICO charge. But we're literally only about 2 weeks away now, so we are about to hear all of this and more in the upcoming days and during trial. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Kid Cudi's officially on the stand. They took a short break, and this is everything he has said so far. Kid Cudi identified Cassie in a photo and confirmed they dated in 2011 and said that Diddy was also involved. But when asked if he knew about their status, he said that they were not dating anymore. He testified that on December 11th, around 5:30 or 6 a.m., Cassie called him sounding nervous, scared, or stressed. She said Diddy found out about them and she gave Diddy Kid Cudi's address. She was terrified, not knowing what Diddy would do, so he picked her up and took her to Sunset Marquis Hotel because he thought it would be off Diddy's radar. While at the hotel, he said they spoke on speakerphone to Capricorn Clark, who was an employee of Diddy's and Kid Cudi's, and he said that she sounded like she was on the verge of tears. Capricorn Clark told him that Diddy and someone else were already inside his house and she was forced to go with them. He said he called Diddy and Diddy said, "I'm over here waiting for you." He said he went back to his home to confront Diddy, but noticed the security cameras had been moved. He then testified that he found out that they weren't working. Inside his home, he said he had gotten some stuff from Chanel, some gifts, and they were opened, and his dog was locked in the bathroom. He testified that in the 3 years of having his dog, he never locked him in the bathroom and let him roam around the home. But after this alleged break-in, he noticed that the dog was jittery and on edge all the time. Ultimately, he did call the police and he filed a report. He said Cassie had seemed depressed and then talked about how a month later, he and Cassie spent the holidays at her family's house in Connecticut. Apparently, Diddy texted him a few times trying to figure things out. He ignored Diddy's text saying, I guess he was in the dark about things and wanted to talk. But at that point, post break-in, I don't want to talk. He testified that he and Cassie did break up and then said in January of 2012, which was a month after the break-in, he finds out about his car. He said his dog sitter called him and told him that his Porsche was on fire. He said he was about 45 minutes away at a relative of his ex-girlfriend's house and his friend took photos of his car. The prosecutor then showed him 6 photos to which he identified that yes, that was his car. In the photos, you could see the hole in the roof of his car where somebody had cut it in order to put a Molotov cocktail, which blew up his car. When asked what his reaction was to his car being set on fire, he said, "What the F?" Now, this is where they took the break. He is back on the stand, and it's being said that while he was describing all of this, Diddy was sitting there very calmly, legs crossed, and no emotion. As always, I will update you with the rest of his testimony once they go on their lunch break.
Kid Cudi is giving his cross-examination testimony against Diddy. Diddy's lawyer Brian Steele said, "I want to ask you some questions about your Porsche in 2022, in 2012. I apologize. You get a call about damage to your vehicle. Any surveillance photos? No. My dog's babysitter did send me pictures of the damage. The DNA taken, are you aware that it came back being a female and the government objects and the judge sustained it? Do you know that there were DNA results? No. Cassie Ventura told you it was over? We just stopped talking. You told this honorable court and this jury that she played you? Yes. She played you and you had no clue? No clue. In 2011, you went on tour? Yes. 65 locations? Yeah. At that time, Sean Combs was an icon. Fair to say? Yes. You and Miss Ventura had a physical relationship? Objection. And then there's a sidebar. Kid Cudi then says, Mr. Steele, can I? And the judge said, no, you can do that on redirect. Brian Steele then says, do you want to tell me something? Sean Combs asked about me doing a song with Miss Ventura in 2010. Thank you. You believe they left your front door unlocked? Yes. No forced entry? No. Just the presence opened and the door in the bathroom? I'm not belittling, just asking. You called Sean Combs? Yeah. Was he calm? Yes. You went to see him. You didn't think he had a weapon? I couldn't call it. You're a strong person. That's how you categorize yourself? Yeah. This crossed the line. Miss Ventura told you that she was abused? Yes. She never said that she was SA'd, true? She did not. You loved her? Tell me if I'm wrong. I did. You got played by the same person who played Mr. Combs, Cassie Ventura. In the 13 years since this has happened, have you ever been notified in California that there has been any more action on this car fire? No. Did Miss Ventura have multiple phones? I don't remember. Then Brian Steele shows Kid Cudi an exhibit and he says, if I said it, I said it. Do you know what a burner phone is? Untraceable. The trespassing. You call it a break-in. Cassie Ventura told you that she had given your home address to Mr. Combs? Yes, in the morning. No more questions. And then it gets redirected back to the government. What did Cassie Ventura confide in you about? Abuse? That he would hit her, sometimes kick her. The day of the break-in, was she carefree? No. What did Capricorn Clark tell you? Sean Combs and an affiliate forced her into a car to come to my house. I called the police. Kid Cudi just confirmed that the female victim that Diddy kidnapped is Capricorn Clark. And I am about to do a whole video on this later, and it's about to be a good one. How would you describe Cassie that day? Just really shook. Him finding out about us. Why did your relationship with Cassie Ventura end? The drama. It was getting out of hand. I wanted to give it space. What drama? The break-in for my safety and her safety. Diddy's lawyer Brian Steele says objection. The judge asked for the grounds and he said speculation and the judge overruled it. Why do you have safety concerns? Because I knew Sean Combs was violent. The meeting at the Soho house, Mr. Combs said, I don't know what you're talking about your car. Did you believe him? Brian Steele objects again, and the judge says, rephrase. What was your understanding of that situation? That he was lying. And this is the end of Kid Cudi's cross-examination testimony, and he is completely done. But we are about to talk about this kidnapping that's connected to Kid Cudi's home, which now is confirmed to have obviously been Capricorn Clark, Diddy's ex-assistant. And I got a good one coming up for you guys a little bit later. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
It's truly so sad, man. They even got Kid Cudi with the humiliation, the blackmail. Look at that. You can't tell me that he enjoys wearing that. You can't. Trust me. Trust me, he doesn't want to wear that, bro. Tell me why. It's not fashion.
Coming out the truck, bro.
Cudi, are you happy that you finally told your truth? What's next, Cudi?
Cudi, do you think your ex-girlfriend blew up your car because you was smashing her sister? Did you meet Cassie at a Diddy freak out? Did you suck Kanye's ass?
A few moments later.
baby number 3. Congratulations.
It's caught in the crossfire.